You probably think your problem is money. But what if the real problem is something deeper? What if the reason you keep struggling isn't that you don't earn enough, but the habits, choices, and quiet excuses you make every single day? This is the story of Mint. On the surface, he always had it together, but his finances told a different story. It was a chaotic cycle he couldn't seem to break. He would save diligently for months, feeling proud, only to watch it all vanish after one bad week. One, "I deserve this" moment. He used to blame bad luck, unexpected bills, the economy, anything but himself. But when the stress kept mounting and the savings account stayed empty, he had to face a much harder truth. He didn't just have a money problem. He had a character problem. The real issues weren't in his bank account. They were in his personality. Subtle traits that he thought were just him were secretly sabotaging every attempt he made to build wealth. It was a startling realization, the kind that changes everything. And today, we're walking you through the 5 signs he discovered in himself. These are the subtle patterns that can keep you poor and the solutions that finally set him free. Habit 5. You suffer from financial denial. Maybe the most common sign is a deep-seated denial. It's the habit of looking away. For years, this was his default setting. He called it optimism. He'd tell himself, "It'll all work out," without ever checking if it would, in fact, work out. He'd get a notification from his banking app and feel that spike of anxiety, so he'd just swipe it away without opening it. Unopened bills would sit on his counter, and he'd walk past them, telling himself he'd deal with them later. But later is a financial trap. It's where small problems go to become crises. His denial wasn't protecting him from stress. It was just postponing it and letting it grow with interest. The turning point for him was when he finally forced himself to sit down and face the numbers. No more swiping away notifications. No more ignoring the statements. He opened his banking app, pulled up his credit card debt, and looked at every single transaction for the last 3 months. It was uncomfortable. It was embarrassing. But for the first time, it was real. He saw the dozens of small, mindless purchases, the subscriptions he'd forgotten about, the takeout orders that added up to a staggering amount. In that moment, he realized he didn't have a lack of money problem. He had a truth problem. You can't fix a leak you refuse to acknowledge. Facing the truth is the absolute first step. It's about trading the temporary comfort of ignorance for the long-term power of awareness. It's about taking a deep breath, opening the app, and deciding you're no longer going to hide from your own life. Habit 4. You use spending as an emotional crutch. Your spending is driven by your feelings, not your needs. Are you an emotional spender? For a long time, Mint would have said no. He wasn't buying luxury cars or designer clothes. But emotional spending isn't always dramatic. It's often quiet, sneaky, and disguised as self-care. Had a stressful day at work? A new gadget will make me feel better. Feeling bored on a Tuesday night? Scrolling through Amazon and clicking "Buy Now" provides a little rush. Feeling sad or insecure? That new pair of sneakers or that expensive dinner out feels like a temporary fix, a small dose of comfort. He was using his debit card for emotional regulation. The problem is, the comfort is fleeting, but the financial hole gets deeper. If your feelings control your spending, it's almost impossible for your money to feel stable. You'll always feel one bad day away from wrecking your budget. The shift for him came when he learned to pause. Right before he'd click that button or tap his card, he started asking himself a simple question. Am I buying this because I truly need it, or because I'm trying to escape a feeling? More often than not, it was the latter. He was buying because he felt stressed, bored, sad, or envious. Learning this was like turning on a light in a dark room. He started to find other ways to deal with those emotions. A walk outside, calling a friend, listening to a podcast healthier coping mechanisms that didn't come with a bill. Financial discipline means learning not to let temporary emotions make long-term financial decisions. It's about separating your self-worth from your net worth and your happiness from your shopping cart. Habit 3. You rely on willpower instead of systems. It's a trap that even the most well-intentioned people fall into, relying exclusively on willpower. Every few months, he'd get a burst of motivation. This is it, he'd tell himself. From now on, I'm going to save more, spend less, and be disciplined. And it would work. For a little while. He'd be incredibly frugal for a week, maybe 2. But willpower is a finite resource. It gets tired. After a few weeks of constant resistance, he'd be exhausted, and he'd inevitably snap back to his old habits. He was treating his finances like a sprint when building wealth is a marathon. A disciplined person doesn't rely only on motivation. They build systems that protect them from their own worst impulses. He learned that character isn't just about intention. It's about structure. Willpower is good, but systems are better. So, he built a system. He made it automatic. He set up an auto transfer to his savings account that moved money the day he got paid. Out of sight, out of mind. He opened a separate bank account just for his fixed bills, so he knew that money was untouchable. He gave himself a weekly spending limit for fun money and put that exact amount of cash in his wallet. When it was gone, it was gone. These weren't grand, heroic acts of discipline. They were simple, boring, automatic systems. But they worked. They worked because they removed the element of choice. He no longer had to decide to save. It just happened. He no longer had to resist overspending. His system created a natural limit. Stop trying to be a hero with your willpower. Instead, be an architect. Design a system that makes good financial decisions the easiest path. Habit 2. You are a master of financial avoidance. This sign is closely related to denial, but it's more active. It's procrastination. It's knowing exactly what you need to do, but constantly putting it off. Financial avoidance is the source of so much unnecessary financial pain. It's letting a small manageable problem fester until it becomes a 5-alarm fire. His desk used to be a graveyard of avoided decisions. Unopened bills, letters from his student loan provider, reminders to set up a retirement account. He knew he needed to consolidate his debt. He knew he needed to create a real budget. He knew he had to call his credit card company to negotiate a lower interest rate. But the thought of doing any of it felt overwhelming. It was uncomfortable. So he'd say, "I'll do it this weekend." And then the weekend would come and go. The problem, he slowly realized, didn't get bigger because he lacked money. It got bigger because he kept postponing the hard stuff. The anxiety of not doing the task was almost always worse than the task itself. That phone call he was dreading? It took 10 minutes. Creating a budget? The first draft took less than an hour. But the weeks he spent avoiding it cost him hundreds of dollars in interest and fees and an immeasurable amount of mental energy. True responsibility means facing discomfort early. The moment he started tackling these tasks as soon as they appeared, his financial life transformed. The weight was lifted. He was no longer a victim of his circumstances. He was in control. Don't let avoidance rob you of your peace and your money. Face the hard decisions. Open the mail. Make the call. The relief you'll feel on the other side is worth it. Habit 1. You haven't become a person who respects money. This is the final and most important sign, the one that ties everything else together. For years, his goal was simply to get out of debt or to save more money. These were outcomes. But he was missing the most crucial part. The ultimate goal isn't just to have more money. It's to become the kind of person who can build and manage wealth responsibly. Financial success is often a byproduct of character. If you are inconsistent, impulsive, and avoidant, you will likely struggle with money no matter how much you earn. Research suggests that a significant number of lottery winners are at a higher risk of going bankrupt, not from a lack of money, but from a lack of discipline. You have to change the person before the bank account will follow. This requires a fundamental identity shift. It's about deciding to become someone who is consistent, accountable, and intentional. It's about starting to respect money, not worship it, but respect it as a tool that can provide freedom, security, and opportunity when managed with care. It's choosing delayed gratification over instant pleasure. It's building the habit of planning for the future instead of just living for the now. For him, this meant he had to stop seeing himself as bad with money. He started telling himself a new story. I am a person who is disciplined. I am a person who plans ahead. I am a person who respects my financial future. It felt like a lie at first, but with every small positive action, every time he faced the truth, controlled an impulse, or stuck to his system, that new identity became more real. Money follows habits, and habits follow character. If you want different financial results, you have to start by building a different self. Mint's journey shows that sometimes our greatest struggles with money aren't really about money at all. They're about our habits, our mindset, and the quiet parts of our personality we rarely examine. By recognizing these 5 traits, financial denial, emotional spending, relying on willpower, constant avoidance, and a lack of respect for money, he was finally able to align his actions with his goals. His bank account didn't change overnight, but he did. And slowly but surely, his finances followed. The chaos turned into order. The anxiety was replaced by a quiet confidence. The wallet changes when the person changes. If any of these struggles felt familiar to you, let us know which one in the comments below. You're not alone in this. And for more videos on building a wealthy mindset and fixing the real source of your financial problems, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next level.